The unemployment rate dipped to pre-pandemic levels in October as economic activity ramped up ahead of the holidays. And in sports, the Petrogas Angels clinched their second straight title at the PVL Reinforced Conference. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. San Miguel Corporation's power unit is formally ending its power supply deal with Meralco beginning today, December 7. SMC Global Power says it has notified Meralco of its decision to stop delivering some 670 megawatts under their Ilihan power supply agreement. SMGP and Meralco said they've already taken steps to ensure uninterrupted service to consumers. This development comes on the back of the Court of Appeals issuing a temporary restraining order on the power supply deal between Meralco and SMC's South Premier Power Corporation. To help shed more light about what this scrap deal means for consumers, we have with us Energy Regulatory Commission Chairperson Mona Lisa de Malanta joining us live via Zoom. Good evening, Ma'am Mona Lisa. First off, has the ERC been formally notified about this termination of the power supply deal?
Good evening, Sean, and good evening to everyone watching us or listening to us today. Yes, just a few minutes ago, we received the formal notice from Meralco about the cessation of supply from SPPC on the basis of their power supply agreement.
All right, so I think two things are top of mind with regard to consumers. It will be higher power rates because of the scrap deal, and on the other hand, supply problems. Of course, it is the Christmas season, and then after that comes summer. Can you explain to us what this means for all consumers?
Okay. First, I think we need to clarify that based on, as I mentioned earlier, we received the notice just a few minutes ago, so I haven't read it thoroughly. But based on the first few lines sent by Meralco, it seems that this is not a termination that was sent by SPPC, but a suspension of their supply arrangement based on the 60-day TRO that was issued by the Court of Appeals. So it's still, in the legal sense, a live power supply agreement. So depending on how the Court of Appeals will rule on this petition by SPPC. In terms of what it means for our consumers, this particular power supply agreement accounts for about 12% to about 13% of Meralco's supply. Meralco has several other suppliers, and this one, if you recall, was one of those contracts that had a fixed price of 4 pesos, about 4 pesos 30 centavos. So it's fixed. It wasn't a moving price. So with that suspension of supply, Meralco will have to source the substitute supply for 13% of its requirements from either the wholesale spot market or alternative suppliers that can be available to supply the requirements of Meralco.
Right, but as the regulator, ma'am, would this supply that Meralco will then source out have to also be at 4 pesos and 30 centavos? Is that a guarantee, or could they just get the next best, or at least the best price that is available?
The obligation of Meralco as a utility is to get the least cost available for its consumers. So if they can get something that is also at 4 pesos 30 centavos, then that's better for all of us, because that means we will hardly feel the effect of the suspension of supply. But if they get from alternative suppliers, their requirement will be to get the best price that's out there, and that's what they should use to substitute this volume that is not getting supplied from SPPC.
Right. In this sense, Meralco's hands are tied because they are the distributor and they have to get the best available price. Ma'am, what if the best available price they can get is much higher than 4 pesos and 30 centavos? What then would this mean to consumers?
it would mean higher prices if Meralco is not able to get an equally good price, or they are not able to, because they have other suppliers, they can also source from those other suppliers that may be better price than what is uncontracted, what we call uncontracted, meaning new suppliers or the spot market. So there are other levers that Meralco can use to make sure that ultimately what is passed on to us as residential consumers, as captive customers, would be the best blended rate that they can get.
All right, going back now to, of course, the restraining order on this power supply deal between Meralco and South Premier Power Corporation. Of course, like you said, it's not suspended. It is temporarily suspended only, not permanently. I'm assuming they will have to renegotiate the deal and the price specifically in the contract. Will the ERC have a say in the negotiations of this new price?
As a rule, Meralco, because it is a distribution utility, before they can pass on any rates to the consumers, they have to get the approval of the regulator. That's just how the industry is structured. So yes, the answer there would be, if we base it on the general rule, they will have to get the approval of ERC before they can pass on the rates, unless these are lower rates. Because in the rule is always to get what is best for the consumers as soon as possible. So if they get a lower rate, then that's good. That's good for all of us. They can just report, or what we call manifest, to the commission that they got a better deal.
Right. Is it possible, one last question, ma'am, is it possible that they do not come to an agreement on a specific price or a specific deal and this falls through completely? Is that also a possibility?
It is a possibility. I think we are realistic enough to know that it is a possibility. And even their existing power supply agreements, as we had discussed in our orders of September 29, even their existing power supply agreements have scenarios to deal with that fact.
All right, thank you so much for your time. ERC Chairperson Mona Lisa Vimalanta joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much, ma'am. In other news, the country's unemployment rate managed to revert to pre-pandemic levels in October. Shaila Francisco with the details.
Daddy is now focused on his online selling business after quitting his job as a call center agent. From earning 20,000 pesos per month in his previous job, he now earns 6 digits from selling branded thrift items. He says this is better as he's also in control of his time and is able to provide employment to relatives.
Nag-switch ako into business para masustain ko yung mga needs ng family. Syempre medyo lumalaki yung family. Bali dalawa yung hinire din tinulungan. Yung brother ko naman na isa is, since meron siyang motorcycle, kinuha ko siya para siya yung mismong mag-deliver ng mga ordered items ko.
Economists say that the shift to online selling may be one of the factors as to why the country's unemployment rate continues to decline. The Philippine Statistics Authority said unemployment rate declined to 4.5% in October, matching that of October 2019. The agency attributes this to increased economic activity brought by the holiday season.
So wala nang restrictions. Kaya puro nag-generate lahat ng trabaho yun. Diba? Kung titingnan natin mabuti. At nagko-complement yun, both digital, pati yung physical source. Kung nagko-complement, nagkaganyan yung unemployment rate.
Meanwhile, month-on-month underemployment rate slipped to 14.2% from 15%. Underemployed Filipinos are those who are looking for additional means of income, either because of low-quality jobs. One other thing to note is the dip in the number of employed Filipinos in October. Among the sectors that saw the largest drop in employment include agriculture and wholesale and retail industries. For its part, the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, says it will continue to prioritize providing quality jobs for Filipinos. NEDA also plans to continue promoting public-private partnerships to generate more jobs. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
One News now will be pausing for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here. Still watching One News now. I'm Sean Yao. Families of the 3 teenagers who died in a police shootout in Sultan Kudarat are calling for justice. Gemma Vansenia with the story.
Families and friends of 3 slain teenagers in Lambayong Sultan Kudarat gathered this morning for a caravan going to Tacurong City and Isulan. They are calling for justice after police shot the teens last week. Many of them are asking for a fair and impartial investigation against the police officers involved in the shootout. Last December 2, criminology student Horton Ansa Jr., his cousin Arshad, and friend Samadin Ali were killed in a police encounter while riding a motorcycle. Authorities claim that the 3 young men refused to stop at a checkpoint. This prompted police to chase after them, which resulted in a shootout.
Bigla pong nagpaputok. So, ang walang choice ang PNP natin kundi mag-retaliate. So, yun po, nung na-immobilize na sila, nagkaroon ng pegsing putukan, dinala na po agad sila sa ospital.
Authorities also claim to have recovered 2 guns, a hand grenade, and 1 sachet of shabu from one of the boys.
Based dun sa naririnig naming informasyon na itong tatlo na to is laging nagiinuman sa daan, na-involve sa away. So, pinapatrace namin yung mga records sa barangay and sa police.
But for the families of Ansa and Ali, these young men were all law-abiding citizens. Horton's mother told News 5 that his son is actually pursuing his dream to be like his father, a policeman. What hurts her the most is that she was about to surprise her son that morning of December 2.
Yun pala ma'am, early in the morning, mga 4 or 5 o'clock, may dumating na tawag. Yun nga, na-disgrasya daw sila. Hindi ako makapaniwala ma'am. Hindi ko lang anong gagawin ko, bakit ganun? Nagpe-prepare na ako, paalis na ako dapat, kaya pupuntahan ko sila. Ako pala yung na-surprise. Ganun kasakit.
This morning, a team from the Commission on Human Rights BARMM met with the families of the victims who are planning to file charges against the police. The Chief of Police and 7 other personnel of Lambayong Police who were involved in the shootout are now in the custody of Provincial Police. Families of the victims are planning to file charges against the police. They are also considering to allow autopsy for the remains of the teenagers. For News 5, Gemma Vansenia, we are One News.
The Petrogas Angels defended their PVL Reinforced Conference crown after downing the Signal HD Spikers in Game 2 of the finals. MVP Lindsay Vanderweide led the way for Petrogas with 19 points, while Myla Pablo added 17, including the championship-winning point. Remy Palma had 18 points and 5 blocks. The loss gives Signal a silver medal after back-to-back bronze finishes in the last 2 conferences. Aside from winning finals MVP, Vanderweide was also named Best Import at the individual awards ceremony. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.